Yo, welcome back to the duo episode of Corrective Culture podcast.
So what's been new? What's been new in our life? King's released.
Yeah.
Have we spoke about that? We haven't spoke about that.
Not really.
Yeah.
Not really.
King's released. I got Parasites in Japan. All the things.
But really, what we're doing right now is we're going to chat for 20 minutes. So we've got this new thing we're doing. We're chatting for 20 minutes. It's going to be all about what we're up to.
And segments, yeah.
Yeah, in segments.
So we're just talking about subjects and topics, and you guys writing in, like when we ask a question on Instagram, answer that. Or also what we got to do, like and subscribe. Do not forget to like and subscribe, and the stars and whatever the thing is on the platform you're in.
Yeah. And I'd like to say that the podcast is now, we have a sponsor. So today we are sponsored by the Corrective Culture Himalayan Salt. Grab that online now for $11.90. No, actually,
I don't even know how much it costs.
The salt's been a little bit left behind, so we don't have sponsors, guys. We sponsor our own stuff. We're our own.
We've had people hit us up though. But it's just
I know.
It's just fuck. What are we going to
do?
You're gonna talk
should
about
we sell out?
You're gonna talk about your company for a fucking 5 jars of your something. You know what I mean?
No, fuck that.
We sponsor ourselves, and so when you like and subscribe, it helps us get more just cooler guests, because that's what they look at. They see how many of that is worth me coming on. So that's what it's all about. To the salt though, salt is important, because this morning I woke up and I put the salt under my tongue. Because remember Cindy's podcast? She says to do that. Yeah, like with the seaweed and whatnot.
Yeah.
So this morning I woke up, felt a little bit dry, and I got up and I get salt and I put it under my tongue and I let it sit there for about 5 seconds, and then I down it with water. Yeah. And just a full remineralization to begin your day.
Fucking dude, we've been out of water for like 2 days now, because Montville's been a little bit behind.
Yeah.
And so we bought this refresh. Well, actually, it was already in the cupboard. Refresh water. It's like spring water, but man, it tastes dead.
Yeah.
So
really?
yeah, I've just been using our salt and just putting a pinch in everything. Otherwise, I just piss it out straight out. Man, comes straight out.
I tell you what, it's actually so nice not having someone deliver water to my house every week now, and just having that filter next to my...
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah, it's just like easy. You're never out of water.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for sure.
And with the same one we have at the gym. So we use a Waters Co. filter, 10-litre jug. That works really well. And it's like, it tastes good. I've noticed it tastes like Montville to me.
Okay.
But like if I get the BOR water, it tastes like shit. It tastes, I don't know what it tastes like, flat or something, because it's a hard way to describe it. But all I know is I used to put the BOR water, it's the one everyone uses locally too, to fill up their water bottles at all the health food shops, and I get a smell out of it. So when I used to scaffold, I used to use that water, and for short term I did, and I'd open my water bottle up and I'd get like a toxic smell out of it, man.
But we also tested it too, remember? We tested the pH level. It was really acidic.
It was acidic, yeah. It was like, yeah. I tested Pump. I tested Mount Franklin. I tested Evian, Fiji. So Pump was the worst. Yeah. Pump was acidic. Pump was red on the pH scale. It was like a 3 compared to 7.
How was Evian, Fiji?
Evian was in the 7s to 8s, yeah.
Okay.
So Evian and Fiji were good.
Yeah.
They were good. And Mount Franklin was like 5. Yeah. So Mount Franklin was trash. Pump was even more trash.
Yeah.
And so that's for the alkalinity.
Yeah. And then the dissolved solids, did you test them?
I did. And none of them were at the like 300 range, but there was definitely more in the Evian and Fiji. Yeah. There was fuck all in most of them, really.
Yeah, even in I tested Montville and BOR. BOR was like 130 or 120, and Montville was like 150.
Yeah, I think I tested Montville actually.
Yeah, and I was like, fuck, like we need at least 200 or 220, and I put salt in, man, and it went up to 400.
Yeah.
So there's your fucking evidence right there, scientific lords.
I'd be interested to do that same water test on like a river, and to see what the dissolved solids are in the river, because it would have to be heavy from sediment.
When I was in Fraser Island, like they talked about the springs there, because that water's like pure as fuck, and they're like, this didn't start running for 100 years. Like the water was seeping its way through the sand and the rocks and everything, and then it started running. He's like, imagine how nutrient dense that water is, and that's for every spring it's taken at least 100 years.
Yeah, true. I was reading I was reading up into fascia. So the other day I go, I want to become just an expert at fascia, right? And at least a pretty good, well, like I feel like we know a lot already, right? Obviously we do, but like dedicate a good 2 weeks of just like studying fascia, right? Which will give a good jump up. And I was looking at fascial adhesions and science behind it and the cadavers and whatnot. And then I was like, I want to see what someone that doesn't like this writes about. So I wrote about science-based evidence of fascial, and it's always going to bring up both options, right? And I clicked on this page, this physio talking about the evidence of fascial adhesions, and there's no good evidence they exist, and that the fascia, the only reason why it would exist is acute injury and scarring and any hits is why you'll get fascial adhesions. And they're like, there's these photos in these people's books that, you know, aren't peer reviewed or whatnot, but there's no literature about it. And I was like, whoa, okay, this guy is waiting for someone else to have it on paper. It was the example of that. It was the example of that. Waiting for someone else to figure it out, but have it on words. He didn't like the photos. He didn't like all these people that cut it out of the bodies and look at it, right? And thinking that it only gets stuck on from injury, because we know that tendons are like sheaths. It's not like one rock thing. There's layers to it, and they got to slide among each other. Remember that video where it's like a worm? You see like the worm inside sliding from the outside, the sheaths. That's basically why we foam roll, right? So you get the slide and glide on different surfaces of tissue.
Yeah.
And it was just, I was like, wow, okay. And not only I thought about that, I thought about this guy. He's put work into writing this article for this, but also put work into looking for literature based instead of putting work into doing it on someone's body or his body or just learning, like actually prac, not
I know,
paper.
Yeah, I feel like people aren't really doing the work, man. Everyone's been told how to think. The other day I hurt my knee in the surf by like just doing this frog movement. I just twisted my knee the wrong way. I got home. I'm like, what would have caused that? And I was like, it has to be fascial related. It has to be muscular related. Like, obviously, we know they're pretty similar. So I got home and I was like, I'm going to find one spot that is going to be fucked. I know that. And it was my IT band.
True.
Yeah, it was my IT band. And I went to my lateral hamstring. I thought that might have been it because it's on the LCL side. And, dude, my IT band and like quad, I was just like, oh, sweet. And then I woke up the next morning, went for a surf, it was gone.
Yeah, that seems to be the common thing for the knee, the IT band, eh?
Yeah, Well,
same with Casey's knee.
Yeah.
So if he's done whatever hard workouts or something at jits, he goes, he'd wake up in the morning and his knee would feel unstable sometimes. And he goes, I woke up and I was pissed off because he's like, fuck, I fucked my knee again, you know. Already did his MCL. And he goes, it would literally feel unstable. And then he goes, then I rolled out my IT band and he goes, it was good on the spot. Yeah.
Same thing here. But I love when something like that happens, now. Yeah. You take your power back. You're like, fuck it, I don't need to go see someone. All I got to do is do some rolling, figure out what this is, have a basic understanding of anatomy and go there with the fascial ball. It's like, it's the way of the future. Yeah. And I've seen TikTok clips and Instagram clips of like even surgeons and obviously surgeons aren't like movement specialists, right? So they know what's on the body, but they don't understand other things a part of it. And same with, then people listen to those surgeons and think, oh, he said this, so I don't believe in this, right? There's a whole big thing of it's stupid to foam roll the IT band because they see it as like it's all just dense connective tissue that you can't change. They keep thinking that, but it's just you bring in water to it. So you bring in hydro. How did Ian used to say it? The word for it. It was like hydrofluidity or I forget. Was it hydroelasticity? No, something else. That sounds pretty cool. Yeah, it sounds cool. But either way, you're just taking water to the area. Yeah. Which then helps it slide and glide on the vastus lateralis. So for the people listening, the IT band's the outside of your thigh, right? So between the outside of your hip to the outside of your knee. But it actually crosses the knee. So it crosses the knee and connects into the tibia, right? And in saying that, it connects into the TFL at the top and the glute at the top. So it's like a Y, really. The glute is one arm of the Y and the TFL is the other arm of the Y. The IT band is the straight part. And since it crosses the knee, it has to affect the knee. And if it's crossing the outside of the knee and it connects to the outside of the tibia, especially on the posterior outside a little bit, it then will externally rotate the tibia relative to your femur, to your thigh bone. So that's why
that's why it would affect the knee, and that's why it can create the instability, because it's basically creating a torsion at the knee if it gets really tight.
Totally.
And saying that for the IT band, it's just a lateral stabilizer. Well, so it's down the outside of the fibers run up and down, so it's on the outside of the body, so it runs in the frontal plane. So it's a lateral stabilizer of the hips swaying left and right. So if your core doesn't work well, you get more hips swaying left and right, and then the IT band has to take more like elastic load to sling back in, and then it dries out. So yeah, rolling it out can get you out of pain and part of the equation, but then it's just part of it. But even 100%. Though it's a good part of it, that can at least stop your knee from hurting.
Yeah, especially because jiu-jitsu, in that fucking long, like legs are always playing guard, and you're shortening that tissue. So it's like you'd think it's just shortening. So it's like, of course, it's going to fucking affect your knee. But I don't think people would understand that.
Yeah.
So for me, it's probably important that I really stay on top of that, the quads, and also with my spondy, and also my IT band with jits, and same with you.
Yeah,
more so for you.
You know what's a cool thing, man? On the the glute mid strength test.
Yeah.
When you do that, you can find people sometimes will cheat. Their hip will roll forward instead of staying in that frontal plane. When they're rolling forward, they're trying to really turn on that TFL.
Yeah.
Because that's a hip flexor also.
Yeah.
And an abductor.
It's a hip flex. Is it a hip flexor in flexion?
It's a hip. It's a hip flexor.
Yeah, hip flexor, internal rotator in flexion.
Yeah, internal rotator. Yeah. Yeah, because I mean,
even in flexion.
Yeah, even in flexion. 'Cause that's when it's shortened.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's when it contracts when it's in flexion, because it's a hip flexor, so it's getting shortened. Yeah. And then it internally rotates the femur. Even the whole way through, really, it'll sort of do a little bit. Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. Like, would it internally rotate like sitting? So, we're talking about like.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when we hold it there and then do it, you feel it turn on.
Yeah, true.
Feel it turn on. Yeah.
It does.
And I think the prime mover of that is the glute min, maybe. Oh, glute min. We should look into that. It doesn't really matter. But anyway. Yeah, so you'll see people's hips roll forward using their TFL to abduct their leg, which means take it away from the midline for people listening instead of their glute mid, which is why it's important to have glute mid strength for a lot of people listening, which is why when you see the physio give you those clamshells and those things that widen the hips, that's why it does work for a lot of things. It's just part of it though, right? You got to also get the length tensions right around the joint, and yeah, that's just part of it.
Cool. We have also on this a separate topic, but with King, going back to King for a second, we've had crazy messages coming in. I've had a few from friends that have just been fucking super horny and turned on since taking it. And it's like, I knew it'd work, because obviously from the stuff we studied and tribes and stuff like that had bull's testicles, and we knew it would work. But just to hear it actually working is fucking nuts. Like, because supplements haven't always been a big thing for me. I haven't always been like, oh, I'm just going to supplement everything, because I just don't feel them. But this one and real food, you do. Yeah,
because then it's got that liver too for the liver in general is going to be gold. And yeah, well, a girl messaged me yesterday saying her partner can't keep away from her.
Ooh.
Yeah, so he's been eating testicles and whatnot, and she goes, it's just so noticeable.
Yeah, that's sick.
So that's sort of obvious. That's a common thing with testicles, but who the fuck is eating testicles? So that's what's an easy way. And also, like, I've been looking up like all sups, like not every day, like listen to your body, like, because I was finding the same thing, man. I was getting horny. I don't.
Did you feel edgy?
No, I didn't feel edgy.
Well, not edgy in a bad way. Just like I felt more aggressive.
Really?
I did. Yeah. What did you feel like?
Well, I was just
horny.
I was just like booking dates and shit.
Yeah. Just on your phone a bit more, like going through Hinge.
Yeah. Just like, I don't know. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just like, it made you think about that more instead of other stuff. So I was like, all right.
Dude, I had the same thing the other day. I was just like, fuck, why am I thinking about chicks a lot? Like, it's fucking, it's just not normal.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're a healthy male, that's probably what you should be doing.
Yeah. So I reckon like 2 days on, 1 day off if you're listening, and everything. Because you got to think, when you kill an animal, you kill a bison, you get 2 years worth of meat off that bison for one person, right? And then there's only one liver in that animal. So you're not going to be able to eat it every single day and get that, right? So you got to, you share the liver, right? You share it amongst the tribe members. I know the women would get it when they're pregnant or fertile, and old people would get it sometimes. And the king warrior of the tribe will get it sometimes. Like everyone has a different cultures of who gets it, but they all know it's the shit. I typed in tribes. I always love this shit, when I'm like just cleaning.
Yeah, you've been loving that for ages.
Yeah, I typed in tribes eating, and I was watching this crew, and they got, what did they get? They got a goat, yeah, and they got all the organs, right, testicles, everything, and they put it in a big blood stew, and they cook it all down. They think they add coconut, maybe milk or something
nose
to it.
to tail, eh?
Yeah, and they just drink this stew. I'm like, okay, fuck that, but whatever. It'll be good for you. But then the liver, they wrap in like intestinal, some like collagen style stuff, and then they cook the liver as like the main thing at the end. And none of these crew know fucking about vitamin B12 and shit. They're just sitting there and they just know though that, oh, this is the part that is obviously makes us feel good. Is obviously is the whole tribe from generations have needed this. So if you're not having liver in your diet and you're listening to this, what are you doing? Like,
yeah, totally. Yeah.
At least that's why we made capsules, because it's like, I don't want to really taste it that much. I know it's a mental thing, but I'm just not going to be cooking liver and onions and shit. Like,
dude, I remember the first time I tried to eat liver a long time ago, very long time ago, and they're like, put milk in with it and cook it in milk.
Yeah, it takes away the metallic.
It takes away the taste, and I was like, it did nothing, dude. It just tasted like fucking shit.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, we haven't grown up on it. Yeah, it was raw. I got the liver raw.
Yeah, okay.
But I put it in a pan with butter and milk.
Yeah, if we grew up on it, eh?
Yeah, I reckon if we grew up, like if you were giving it to your kids, they'd probably crave it. You know, but still, you wouldn't want to give it to them all the time.
Yeah, every few days.
But yeah, I love the fact that, you know, I was listening to Paul talk about the studies about how they've actually shown that if you eat liver, it goes to your liver to heal your liver, which is amazing. So for people that have low testosterone, I definitely think, I mean, that we haven't even, I don't know if there's any studies done on it really, hey? But
yeah, I'm not sure if there has been. Yeah,
but we'll do the studies.
Yeah, I mean, and I just care about how you feel, man. Like, I don't care about.
We both felt it. People are writing in telling us how they feel, which is fucking epic.
I don't care about like numbers and that so much.
No, imagine you did.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Liver. Oh yeah, because you got to think about it, man. Like, if you eat an eyeball for an animal, that's full of retinol, which is good for your eyes. You know what I mean? So it's just not even, it's a similar amino acid profile if you want to get science, but it's the structure and the combination. That's the important part that's very hard to quantify for these people, you know? Yep. So it's the structure that this is close to what we have. I know I can get vitamin A from carrot, but it's preformed vitamin A. It's beta carotene or some shit. So it's not the same. And it's, again, that's still looking at it from a sciencey sort of perspective. Like, I just want to eat eyes for eyes, liver for liver. It's just that just makes sense for me from evolution. Plus, proof's in the pudding.
Yeah, well, we're on the same page there, that's for sure. Callan got riddled with parasites coming back from Japan.
Yeah, infested, dude. Infested. So that's the start. We're starting.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, this is about me catching parasites in Japan, which was an experience. And you know what? I think I'm going to have the pills again soon just to make sure, because I don't know, I just want to make sure, right? But so I went to Japan. Jake and I went to Japan. He went first and come back, and then I went. And I had sushi over there, which is commonly where you'll get parasites from, especially liver flukes. You'll get it from raw fish. It's very common. And if it's farmed raw fish, then it's like almost certain, okay? So I went to this, we're in Hakuba. So Hakuba is like a little snow village, which isn't obviously close. I don't know. Japan's like an island, right? So it's probably somewhat close to the water, but I don't know where the fuck I was on the map. And I had sushi, and I was fine. I was fine most of the trip, right? And by the end of the trip, I just got run down, which I don't know if it was that or not. It could have just been everything, the food. And the food in general was very hard. Like, I was like, whoa, like, you're not living a long time if I was to go live here. Holy shit. Great people. The food tastes good, but it's all like, if you want a ramen, it's hard to get even chicken and beef. Like, hard to get beef anyway, man.
It's fucking shit.
It's all pork.
Yeah.
And the pork would be pork's one of the most toxic animals if it's not done right, because it's so fatty and everything stores in the fat. So that's why I feel shit off pork a lot of the time.
Yeah, me too.
But
hard to eat it.
But yeah, and then it's all Wagyu. So Wagyu is just obese cow, grain-fed cow till it's sick with antibiotics. And I had the Wagyu. I probably spoke about this on the potty already since, but I had the Wagyu, and I turned my head to the left, so I could feel to the right, and I could feel water pulling down the whole side of my face. And like, Like you could almost pop my face. It felt so just, that's what I mean by inflamed. And a lot of people that would happen to people all the time and not realize, man, that they would 100%. Feel that tightness in my neck and the joints. And I was like, I knew what it was. I didn't have to start stretching it. I did massage my face though to try and like flush it out. And it did go away after lunchtime. But if you just have something inflammatory again, then it flares back up. But yeah, got parasites. So this is how I know I got parasites. I come home, one of the fucking worst flights of my life. No, not one of, was the worst flight of my life. Because it was like, what, a 9-hour flight or something?
Yeah, it's the overnight flight, the red eye.
And just to put you in the, red eye, like put you in the picture, I had to like basically blow my nose every fucking 5 minutes. I was coughing and like a foul cough, you know, you don't want to hear that cough in a plane. Heaps of other people had that cough. And just because I just get run down, if I'm not on point, man, I get so run down. It's always happened to me. And I, imagine like me trying to sleep, my head's falling forward, hanging from my fucking suboccipitals for like an hour sometimes, and then like waking back up.
Fuck, it's nothing worse.
It was so bad. And then I got home, had the capsules. So I got home and just like, I better have some purge capsules because just saw the shit over there. Didn't think I was going to have anything because I've done the cleanse heaps. I've never had a parasite come out. And within 3 hours, the first time I went to the toilet, a liver fluke, and an eggs, some like gel sac thing come out, which is biofilm. And then I was like, and this is for people asking like, how do you know? And you know, because people always ask how do you know to look and check and whatnot. It felt like it just fell out of me. Like it's almost like pressure built up and just fell out, like one thing, you know?
Yeah.
And not much else come out. It was almost water and diarrhea-ish a bit because purge makes you diarrhea sort of like that. But it wasn't really, it was like water come out of me and just these two fucking parasite things, right? And it must have been freshly dead, this one, or freshly born or whatever, because it was still like, you could sell, it looked like a liver. It looked like a little liver.
Yeah, did I?
Yeah. Well, I guess it's, I mean, they're called liver flukes because they eat your liver, but it actually looked like a liver, man.
Yeah, it looks like
now that you think about it. But this one had thickness.
Yeah.
So it was probably like a centimeter thick. And I was like, what the fuck is that? So, because I was looking at the bowl and I was like, that looks like what I think it is. And I really didn't want it to be. I was like, oh, hopefully not. So I got tweezers. I pulled it out and I pulled this gel sac thing out. And then I had a good look at this thing because I wanted it to be like tomato or something, you know? And I was like, that's fucking not tomato. It was like a living being, right? And then, especially the gel sac thing, I've never seen anything like that come out of me, you know? And then I got this gel sac and I just opened it up because I don't know what it was. I thought it was just like some mucus. I opened it up and there was these 2 eggs inside, 2 rice. They look like rice, but perfectly circular and wider than rice, but perfectly circular. And I was like, what the fuck is that thing? And then I knew that was that. I went out to the hallway and sort of told Harry, I was like, man, I didn't think I shot at parasites, eh? And this is what blows my mind because you get crew. I've had friends that are so parasite infected and more so addicted to sugar that they can't do it because they're just, it's like they've seen them come out before, not even cleansing. They've seen shit come out in their stool. And then they've seen, we spoke about that,
I love that.
Because it's like really the parasite in their brain is talking to them, tell them, no, it's not us. It's fine. It's fine. It's the sugar. It's good for you, you know? And, but yeah, and then they don't do anything about it. And I saw this thing come out and I was like, all right, I'm not eating any fucking sugar. No. I went and pumped more purge, oregano, I ginger, turmeric, vitamin C. Straight away I started fermenting my food again. So I created a kefir for coconut kefir and a coconut yogurt ferment because I want to bring in the good bacteria to fight them and repopulate. And basically for the next 2 days or so, they just kept coming out. So then hundreds come out, but no more like fresh living ones like that first one. They all look like the rolled up leaves. And I wasn't eating food either. So they just kept coming out and the eggs come out. But that first gel sac was just 2 eggs and then there was no gel sac. It was just the eggs coming out. And I reckon, man, I don't know what number, but probably it was in 100 to 200 eggs would have come out of me. Eh? And when I got the colonic, I went and got a colonic just to flush it all out more. And yeah, they all came out and then they just stopped coming out. I could sort of tell when it was done. I could start to feel better and it was like, I feel like myself again. Like it took a while from that Japan trip to come back to normal. Eh?
And it took me a week. I had a week of depression.
Yeah,
coming back, and I just felt felt shit, man. I did steer clear of any fish, but I was like just eating like a lot of spice too, but it was just shit food. Just like one had these noodles one night, man. The next morning I looked in the mirror and I was like, holy shit, man, I'm inflamed as fuck. Like your eyes are all crinkly and like,
that would have been the water in the face thing. If you
100%.
turned your head,
yeah. Dude, I could tell straight away. I just laughed. I was like, this is hilarious. I wish Callan could see this right now. So funny, eh?
And that's what I mean, mate. Most people, 99, do not even notice that.
Well, they
think they're just tired.
I know, and it was don't you reckon it's surprising when we got home and we're both yarning about it, how everyone was like, you know, you can go over there. Actually, before we went, you can go over there and like you can eat healthy and that. I'm like, in my head, I was just like, you obviously haven't been to Japan or you haven't been to where we've been.
Yeah.
Because you can't.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I've really thought about it and put effort into thinking about it. And I'm like, maybe if you source some clean, there's nowhere to even cook.
No.
You know? So it's like, fuck.
Yeah. Like I went to the grocery store and I was like, all right, I can't get really salad.
No.
There's no chicken, like good chicken. All the chicken was like little fillets with oils and shit all over it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just wasn't really.
At Miyoko, the half an hour away is the shopping centre. Probably longer, and everyone just shops at 7-Eleven.
Yeah, right.
So it's like just like it's the worst.
Yeah, and the skin and that. Like I was like, everyone was saying how healthy it is. Like, fuck, I didn't see that. Like, because I don't know, they're thinking if they're not what we're doing, eating organic and mixing up proteins, rotating veggies and shit. It's it's easy to think it's like the noodles and the ramens are sort of healthy and that.
Yeah, I know.
They forget that it's all. What's all the little powder in it? What's the mix?
Yeah, let's just eat the ramen. I'm like, there's no protein in it, and the protein is pork, and then there's one egg that's probably caged as fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
And then there's just all the fucking
the yolk colors are
fuck. So bad. And then they have all the noodles, and everyone's just slurping away, and it's like I'm just like a carby fucking high glycemic index fucking inflamed man after it.
Yeah, that's it. It's,
no one's really talking about that though.
Yeah, they think sushi's sort of healthy.
Yeah.
But most sushi's farmed.
Yeah.
Is the rice organic or is it just arsenic full covered glyphosate? Like it's just all these little things that add up to big problems though.
Yeah, it actually scares me. Fuck.
It's hard to travel, eh?
Yeah, it is hard to travel. Yeah. Like even going to Bali, like we're going to Bali next month and
we'll have to go to that Velo.
Yeah,
Velo?
You can eat there. That's pretty good. Like, but I never feel great over there, man. Like I always get all my allergies back over there.
True.
Like I'll start sneezing and shit, and my eyes are itchy and stuff, and just like, and I try and eat at those warungs, like you know that one warung we were going to, and there was just like salad and
that
meat,
was nice,
basically, but it's still just must be shit.
Yeah, it is.
But also, like we can't live our life being entirely, you know, free from shit. It's like you do your best when you're home. You do your best, but if it's stressing you more than actually going on the holiday, then you know what's the point of going?
Yeah, so I wonder how Paul always travel. Oh, that's a good question. When we see him, we'll ask him that. I mean, how do you travel and eat, man? Like, because I know I think they pre-planned. Like his missus was like plans where there's organic shops and whatnot.
Yeah, they do. I remember Donald even saying that. But I wonder. Like Japan, I would. Yeah. I mean, fuck. He's right. You would have to plan it months in advance, and you'd have to be like, "Hey, I'm going to stay with a place that I can cook. I'm going to have all the food delivered there when I get there." There's a way around it for sure.
Yeah, like in Tokyo, I'm sure there's a way. I just didn't know where, you know.
Yeah.
And you'd have to travel and really suss it. But where I was in Hakuba, like, I didn't know. Yeah. And all the Aussies working there, I was like, "Fuck these poor girls!" Like I watched all these girls because it's like basically an Aussie town, like, and just their skin and shit. I'm looking at all their skin, like this poor girl's like probably rubbing cream all over this shit, doesn't understand, like, and just like it's the culture of like
the snow culture is interesting.
Yeah, just getting pissed and shitty food.
Get pissed and fucking eat like heaps bready, like bread, cheese, and like burgers, and that's it really, and hot chips, you know, and man, like Canada, it's all just like poutine and stuff like that, which is like chips and cheese and sauces all over it, and people are just smashing it and.
Yeah, lack of protein. That was the big thing, lack of protein. God. I'd get ramens and add extra eggs and shit because I don't want extra pork.
Nah.
Like, it's fucking...
Yeah, it's hard. I couldn't even get a steak over there. It was crazy. But like, so fuck. You're lowering your immune system. You're prime for parasites, basically.
Yeah. And I'm glad that most people doing it, they wouldn't come out in one serving a purge. So I think my gut was already in a sort of a good state in some sense of...
Yeah.
And I was having oregano all over there. So I think they were just dying slowly from that. And then when purge come in, it was like, that was it. You know?
Yeah.
I was having oregano pretty often. I always travel with our oregano oil, which soon, I don't know how soon, it's hard to do, but we'll be having an antifungal elixir that we're creating for all that.
Yeah.
Which is like a different cut.
Yeah.
It's going to be cut with Inca. Am I saying that right?
Yeah. Inca Inchi.
Inchi.
Or Inca Itchy or Inca Itchy oil.
Which is like almost like a plant-based omega-3.
Yeah.
So it's cool that it's cut with that.
Inca Inchi.
So you can almost counter inflammation at the same time, which would be really cool.
Oh, shit. That was on silent. That'll be my car probably being ready.
Oh, yeah.
So should have taken it, eh? All right, so we put out a questionnaire on our Instagram to get some people to write in and get some questions, because it'd be fucking cool to hear what people have to say. Let's just pick a couple each, Callan.
Cool. All right. So we have here, what do you think about tax rates in Australia?
I think they're good for the rich.
Yeah, that's for you know what we were talking about.
Not that we're rich, but anyway.
Yeah, definitely not there. It feels like we aren't. You know what it feels like? It's like we aren't personally. But the thing we've created is, you'll see the future of it, you know. But
yeah, well, I already feel rich. I already feel rich as fuck. Like life is so good.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And you can't, like, I don't care about the dollar of it. It's like I feel really happy.
Yeah, safe.
Yeah.
Feel safe.
I feel safe, even though like probably not that safe.
Yeah. Okay. Would either of you go on the next season of Traders Australia? I don't know what that is.
Tradies Australia or
Traitors? Traitors must be some TV show.
Oh.
Same person. Would either of you create an OnlyFans? If not, why? So this guy, this guy messages, slides in my DMs a little bit, and tells me how beautiful I am and shit.
What a sick cunt.
I haven't written back to him.
What a legend.
Yeah, nothing but love, you know.
Sure.
And what did he write to me yesterday? It was like, hey man, like, would you be? Oh, I'll find
That's a good one, dude.
Would you be interested in OnlyFans? I would. What did he say?
Dude, you should start an OnlyFans. I would never start an OnlyFans, but you're hot enough, dude.
No. I can't be starting an OnlyFans. Okay. Hey, Callan, I understand you may never do an OnlyFans, but if you're ever willing to sell any other vids separately or privately, I will gladly give you my money. All these vids can be general stretching or workout vids too. Does not have to be anything explicit. Anyway, it's just food for thought from one of your law supporters. Either way, I look forward to following your content. Thanks, mate. Thank you. Appreciate the love.
Yeah, what a legend.
Above that says, Callan, you're so fine, mate. But nah, it's just I would feel very just out of sync.
For sure. Well, fuck.
Yeah. And what is this? What? There's no time in that, right?
Yeah.
And male OnlyFans is just for guys.
Yeah,
it's for gay guys. Chicks.
Yeah. And if
no
you're not,
chick
if you're
has
not
OnlyFans.
gay, then yeah, well, I don't know. Do you have to be gay to have a OnlyFans? Not really, eh? Like
no, for the guy. Yeah. No, but guys do it for other gay guys. They don't, but the straight guys do it for other gay guys.
That's all right.
But yeah. I mean, go for it, right?
Yeah.
Makes
sense.
But there's no way chicks subscribe to OnlyFans for guys. It's like that's just not something a chick would do, you know.
I got one here.
Yeah.
Functional patterns, thoughts, benefits, limitations, thoughts on Nyati the creator.
Okay, this is a good one. Okay?
Yeah, this is
a good one. Okay, first of all, we love the principle. I do. I love functional patterns. I think he's got gold. And what I love is he's someone that's so extremely passionate. Someone that's so, it's his whole life that you have to listen to what he's saying. Anyone that's like that, I feel like we're like that. Like you have to take bits from him. But a lot of people don't like certain things that he says, and then they just reject everything else. It's like Paul, man.
Yeah, Paul's
amazing at so many things, and they hear him talk about God or some woo-woo other thing, and they're like, "Oh, fuck him," you know?
Yeah, it's so
it's crazy. It's just a low level thinking.
Yeah,
it is. First of all, with functional patterns, it's really based, I guess, on the anatomy trains slings. So I've done an anatomy trains course. Anatomy trains is a book from Thomas Myers, which is all the fascial slings, and it's gold. Like what he's done really well is finding movements that use those slings well. That's what he's done well at.
Yeah.
And
I guess it's like it's a way to exercise with like hydrating the fascia as well, and using the body in its extremes of like the slings. Hey, like because that's what it kind of is.
Yeah, like I personally think you're better off doing that stuff than traditional gym weightlifting shit. You're going to have more longevity, right?
Yeah. Well, one's depends what you're using it for. Like one's for strength, hypertrophy, power. The other one's for like hydrating fascia and being able to move. And I guess you're right for longevity.
Yeah. If you just want to like move when you're old, I think that's going to be better than doing other things.
Yeah. What?
Because it moves planes of motion. So you don't just lose it overnight. You know?
No.
Yeah.
But
and it's not heavy.
What I think about functional patterns is, and I love it, what I think is like, look at Tai Chi. It's like Tai Chi, say like a Master Shen Yi, you know, they talk about how they get more elastic with age. I'm like, look at a 90-year-old Tai Chi teacher and how young they look and how vibrant they look. And I'm like, that's an extreme form of like functional patterns. You know, the movements, you know, how they're going through, like, it's almost like, it's just fascinating. I'm like, that is, you know, everything we study about fascia, like that would light the fascia up more than anything. Hey, like Qigong, Tai Chi, like slow movements through.
Yeah,
through
definitely.
Range, and it's like it's been there for forever.
Yeah, it's a way of moving, getting you in those weird positions, and then loading it. I guess FP just loads that.
Yeah, exactly.
In other ways, and then just ties the slings together a little bit based on.
I just reckon what you
movement.
said is perfect. Like, take what you like from it and use it. It's like, don't say it's all shit, because someone could just see us and say it's all shit, and it's just the way it is. It's like there's magic in what he's teaching, magic in what we're teaching. Paul, everyone, you know. Even some of the people that we don't love, I still take the best stuff from them. Yeah, because you can, like, why? Yeah, like you said, it's a low form of thinking. I reckon you can learn from everybody.
The gap it has that it can be integrated, I'm sure, is like it's not the clinician. Like better, like the average physio, it's probably gonna get more result, right? But for the clinician, like, you know, that girl that come in was like, all right, her whole back pain was. Her whole years of back pain was just getting that multifidus, waking up, and now her whole quality of life is back. You know, totally. and that knowledge of anatomy. So I think maybe for, like for the practitioners themselves, they wouldn't be taught that. They wouldn't be so sharp at anatomy. They wouldn't know those things yet.
I agree.
But that's where maybe they would have got to that multifidus around with some lumbar exercises on like month 2 or 3 or something.
Yeah.
But for the girl that wants to get at a pain in 5 minutes. That's the missing link. It sort of won't do that.
Yeah, totally. And it's another one size fits all kind of thing. And that's like when someone asked him about Paul Check and he's like, I like some of his stuff. And I'm like, there's no way you could say I like some of his stuff if you actually haven't looked into him. I don't think he's really looked into his stuff, because I know Paul studied a lot with Tom Myers and all those guys, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like maybe he needs to take our advice.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think he's got gold. Really, if I think about myself, like I think of such a combination of like, it's inspired me a lot. Those movements really ignite things in my head, and then I feel like I think in a similar way.
Yeah.
But I love that I got the check behind it and the assessment protocol.
Oh yeah.
Because they don't have that.
No.
So they might do something and someone gets out of pain, but they don't know what did it. What we're good at is like, okay, when I activated that and released that, that's going to take the tension off that, and that's what got them out of pain.
Yeah,
and that's what makes you learn a lot more. And then
true.
The evolution of that, and it's hard to teach that really. So we're lucky, man. We've got this like different mentors that have built us into something unique.
Yeah,
and powerful.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel powerful at what we do. You know.
Yeah, it helps. It gets people. There's a lot you can see that we can see that people can't, and that's just why you can get people out, like you said, out of the like knowing that multifidus thing, or like, you know, if you're going to give someone someone who's got a really flat back probably wouldn't do so well with tucking their butt under and doing, you know, so it's like just knowing that, you know, instead of just going, okay, we're just going to do this protocol.
So, for sure,
magic.
So it's another one on the phone. There you go.
Oh yeah, shit.
That's right.
Kind of got lost. Okay, we'll do one more.
Where is it? Stories.
Shit.
Okay.
Fuck, I'm illiterate with this shit.
Okay, this one says Paul Check inspired, talking through all his greatest teachers and mentors and why.
Oh, there's a 4-hour podcast for that. I think it's on his 60th birthday. He did a 4-hour podcast and he talked about all of his mentors, and it's fucking mind blowing. Like his body of work is second to none. So I think better than us going through that. I think go listen to that podcast. It'll blow your mind.
Does he mean our example of that? Like what are our mentors and that? Is that what he means
I'm
by
not
that?
sure.
She goes, when's the dating app coming? Thanks. Dating app. Imagine a dating app for healthy people. That's like the biggest, I pretty well stopped seeing someone recently because the health wasn't there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
On the level. So it's like,
Oh, that's a pretty cool idea.
that's a cool idea. But how are they going to be healthy? How are you going to prove that? Like, do you guys eat
Yeah.
organic? Okay. So you got a farmer's market, organic, no tap water, you train, you get circadian rhythms on point. Imagine that. Imagine bringing those people together. And that's where we start the cult. Okay. In a perfect world, no seed oils, but preventatives before or after, unfortunately, eating them. I think the old classic, if the solution to pollution is dilution. So lots of water, obviously, but charcoal. Have extract. If I have a shitty meal, have the extract. And you got to think it's high in omega-6, so seed oils. So it's really about the ratio for a lot of this stuff. So if it's high in omega-6, it means you need to bump your omega-3s up. So if you're having those seed oils, probably when you get home, you'll load up on like double dosage of like fish oil, good fish oil, cod liver oil or whatever, and having the extract. Probably have the extract first, let it go through your body and grab a bit, and then have the fish oil. So that's the answer to that.
I got one here. This guy actually messaged me. I won't say his name, but he messaged me about his mate's dad dying.
Okay.
And he said, what's the best way? I will get back to that message, brother. What's the best way to support a mate who's grieving losing a dad? So you probably know I've already just been through all this shit. So to support someone who's grieving a loved one who's dying, man, the only thing you can possibly do is be there for him. You can't actually change the way he's going to feel because that's robbing him of his journey. I think you just need to be around him and just let him know that you are there no matter what. And be there doesn't need to be any words, just be there by his side. When I was losing dad, all I wanted was people to know that I had people there that had my back. And that's like the biggest gift you can give anyone. And that's honestly what Ram Dass would probably say as well. Said all you can offer them is your presence and how you feel and what comes up inside you at the time in your heart. So yeah, I hope that helps, man. I will get back to your message on a more personal level, but yeah, I hope that helps.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you could do.
Yeah, you can't change.
You can't
people.
talk them like, oh, sorry. You know what I mean? Like, what do you say? Like,
yeah, and it's nice. Like, even man, it meant so much. Even when you came to my dad's funeral, that's huge, man. When you step up for your mate and you're like, okay, all right, I'm just gonna come. You know, because it's huge.
Yeah, it's so huge. It's such an intense thing, and it's the biggest fear in my life. Really, I think is losing my parents. That is my biggest fear. Actually, there's nothing else I think about. It's not the fear I have, and it's a fear that is, I guess, natural, and it's I get comfort in a bit. I guess I shouldn't, but I get comfort in that you've already been through it.
Yeah,
and that okay, Jake's been through it. Like,
yeah, for
sure.
sure.
When I hit that time, it's like I know he's done it. You know, and
for sure, man. Yeah, I'll be there for you whenever that happens. You know.
Yeah, so
and that's the thing. You just got to be there for your mates. And fuck, I don't know. There's such a crazy feeling that's warm in the solar plexus when you know that your mate's there for you in those times, because like it's such a challenging time because you can't put it into words. It's like you're just grieving and you just got to grieve for a year or two. It's like you can't just get over it. I'm still grieving. And I still have mates that are there for me. So it's like, yeah, just be there for him.
Yeah. There's another cool, here we go. Like, oh yeah, when and with what background did you start taking your first clients after IMS 1? So we started, what was it? Well, I personally started taking it after IMS 2. If I could say what's ideal if I was to tell someone now, I would say after IMS 2.
Yeah, I'd say the same.
Yeah. But definitely practice your IMS 1 on people. But IMS 2, which is Integrated Movement Science Level 2 for people listening for the Czech Institute, after I did that, that teaches you all the goniometry and movement somewhat stuff of range of motion assessments. That gives you a nice start to know, that's tight instead of guessing. So I reckon after that, and then you just stay with that for a good couple of years probably.
Yeah, smash out the assessments. Like do as many like I know me and you could do pretty much off by heart, the IMS2 assessment now.
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause you do so many and you're like, oh, what's the range for that? It's that. TFL's tight, quad's tight. You know, you start to just like, so do the work like after IMS2, but
yeah. And at the start, it'll be very, how can I describe it? It'll be very logical in your head, more like, okay, I go to this one, now I do this one, now I go sit down. Okay, that means that's tighter, that means that tighter. But it'll start to not be so eventually strict by the book with that, and you'll start to see things that make that tighter or make that, and you may not have to deal with that like straight away. Basically, I'll only deal with a range of motion indifference if it's a major indifference. Yeah. If it's like 5 degrees or something, I don't really care. And and also feeling it, like what you want to do if you're listening to this, don't just get the range of motion and take the number. Like feel what it feels like when you move their leg or quad and whatnot, and you'll start to feel different tissues, and that sometimes that can set an alarm off to you. Like, fuck, I know that was the same range as that one, but that felt completely different in the tissue. And then I asked the person, and they feel that too. And I think is a good tip that I was never taught, but I reckon it helps a lot is ask the person when you do it, where do they feel it? Where do you feel the pain? Where do you feel the tightness? Do you like, especially if you say you're doing like internal rotation of the hip, or so let's say external rotation of the hip, there's a few different muscles that could be restricting that. So you say, do you feel it in the adductors in the groin? Do you feel it at the front of the hip? Do you feel it at the back? Like, and they can sometimes guide you and save you time instead of trusting just you all the time. I reckon you got to like, it becomes an art.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So that really helps a lot.
Yeah.
And then what are your penis pet names? I've actually never even thought about that in my entire life. I think maybe chicks think guys think like that, but we don't. Yeah, I've never named it.
I remember
Daddy.
one of my first girlfriends, I nicknamed her vagina Tuna.
Dude.
And it wasn't like
to her face?
To her face, dude, just as a joke, because like it was all about nicknames. And we're just like, fuck, what's the worst nickname? And then it actually stuck, and I was like, fuck, that's fucked, eh? Yeah. But anyway.
And then this girl's thoughts on water filter. Just I like the Waters Code filter. Get a good filter. Make sure it takes that fluoride, chlorine, and just remineralize it afterwards with salt. Pretty well they all need to be. Even if they have remineralizers in it, generally you need to chuck a little bit of salt in it afterwards.
Our water's not the same anymore. It's like even spring water that's amazing. It's less good now, so just salt it.
Yeah, and let's do one final one that's good for you to answer, I reckon. And it's
Thank you, Callan.
And it's what are you thoughts on God / source / consciousness, the universe?
Oh, that's a huge one, eh?
That's a huge one. Like thoughts on it.
Thoughts on God. My thoughts on God would be God is the ever experiencing self and everything in it. So like, I just think that God is everything and everyone. And yeah, we are just experiencing, like we are God experiencing self, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the game.
Yeah, it's like hide and seek almost. It's like,
yeah.
And when we die, we're like, here we are.
Yeah, it's the, because you hear those similar death stories that like Dr. Palmer's talking about.
Yeah.
It's that similar thing of like you die and then you're back to like the real world, really. And then they talk about like, so how was it? You know, like back there, like the game, like we will take it all so serious and all that sort of shit, but it's just a big playground for the soul, hey, to experience and then go back and then maybe choose something else. Or this time I'm going to be a fucking ant, or this time this time I want to feel what it feels like to die or get murdered. You know what I mean? There's all these things.
Totally.
I was listening to the Matrix clip before, and it was like the Oracle clip, and she was like, "Do you want some gum?" And he's like, "Why do you like? Do you already know if I'm going to take it, or something like? Why do you already know if you're going to take it, or like why do you ask me if you know that what I'm going to do or whatever?" And she goes, "It's not about like the journey's already. It's not about figuring out if you're going to take it or not. The choice has already been made. It's figuring out why you made that choice." And
yeah, fully.
It's like the path is, why am I here? Why am I doing this? What am I meant to do? You know, like, and figuring out why did I make that choice over that choice, which is sometimes scary. Does it mean, I mean, I'm not saying the whole universe is based upon the Matrix movie, but
yeah,
but I think like,
yeah,
but it's the fact that, is it already written?
Yeah.
And if it's already written, is there any
point to it at all?
Is there any point to it at all? You
yeah,
know?
I know. I think about that too. It's like, because we essentially know why we're here. There's a feeling of a deep feeling of knowing. You know, when you're like, that feels right, that feels wrong. So you're kind of being led. But also lately I've been thinking a lot about like stepping more into myself and less fearful of making decisions that I want to speak up about or things like that. And I'm like, fuck, what is that? You know what I mean? What is this evolving self that comes up, and it's like your shadow starts to come up and you want to speak it and not be so afraid of what people would think or anything like that. You know, I think that almost is God too, because it's like your deep inner knowing that's not of words or thought. It just feels.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like that's God experiencing itself, but your experience in this life.
Yeah, as Joe Nishchar said, that you get the free will, choice of free will, but you can always go back to that inner guidance, and it'll always give you the answer.
Yeah,
yeah, of what you know,
so
you're meant
true.
To do. Like that deeper, that further back. It's like all knowing. It's like mother or father feeling, eh?
Yeah,
it's a feeling of of right and security and safety
safety.
You play in the garden, but when you need me, we're over here, you know?
Yeah. And if you want to know how to feel what's right in your life, it's never heady. It's very in the heart. So you'll feel your whole body. If you want to know what a full body feels, it's a full body yes. So if you meet someone and you go, I feel like I just want to be around them, and your whole body lights up, that's your soul guiding you. That's God. You know, that's where you need to follow. Other than whether something good or bad comes of that, but that's where you need to go. So I feel like that's always right. It's never wrong. Remember Bobby Running Fox was talking about following that feeling. This is a shaman that I know. And he was going down this road and he goes, I'm just going to turn right and just follow this feeling, man. And then there was a massive car pile up on the road that exact time he was there.
Whoa.
And I was like, fuck, that's pretty tapped.
Yeah, it's like how I spoke about it when I rehabbed that little girl and I got that feeling. Fuck, that was a crazy feeling.
Yeah.
That was exactly
how much do you get it with clients, eh?
Yeah. You do, like when they're like, yeah, this was like a really strong one.
Yeah.
It was like one of the first ones that they were like really fucked up and then they have a quality of life come back, and that was nothing clearer. I remember thinking about this, what we're talking about now at the time, was like, oh, this is the heart compass thing. This is there's nothing else.
Yeah.
This is just it. This is it. Like, it's clear as day. And I think it's like using that in relationships, man. You wonder where your inner programming of grass is green or all that sort of shit comes in, and can it damp all that? Or when the person comes along, is it like, nah, fuck, this is it? Because
I don't know, man, because I don't know what love truly is. Like, I don't, when everyone's always like, oh, do you love this person? And I'm like, I love everyone. I love everybody. It's like, is lust love? Is having a crazy sexual connection with someone love? Is like, I guess the answer to that would be like when you really feel fulfilled with a person, and you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like my dad would talk about it a lot before he died. He's like, because I don't even know what love is, Jakey. Like, I really don't. Like, I got this girl who I haven't had sex with in 3 years, and he was a sex addict, and he's like, but I love her.
Yeah. And
I'm like, I get that. I get what he's saying there. It's like, what I think he was trying to say to me back then was, love it comes internally. You can't possibly love someone more than if you don't love yourself. So I think that's why now he's passed, my journey is to go inward and love myself enough to feel that. And then for my kids and their kids and whatever. Anyway,
beautiful.
Don't even know where we went. Little last segment now, guys. We're going to play a little Rum Dust for you.
So what is this from? What's this from? I haven't heard this.
This
is from like him talking.
Harry messaged me and said,
"Oh, cool.
Have you been listening to anything cool lately?" And there was this podcast that Rum Dust did, "Taking Off Your Spacesuit." It's called, and he was talking about one thing I found really interesting was boredom in there, and I was like, "What is boredom?" Boredom comes from a busy mind. Boredom comes from not feeling okay. When you're saying I'm bored, it's usually saying I don't feel okay inside right now sitting here. And he's
true,
like,
true.
and he's like, so meditate on that. Like, go get bored. And then when you've been bored for an hour, get more bored and keep going. Because it's like, just watch it. He goes, don't become the boredom. Watch the boredom. And I thought that was pretty magic.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. But this is a snippet from that podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is yet. But I'm sure it'll be special because Harry picked it.
I was always constantly checking to everybody to see if I was enough somebody so that I would be allowed to exist. And suddenly I felt understanding, compassion, clear, at home, familiar. Very loving, very, very, very aware. So about 2 hours later, when the chemical wore off, I started to come back into my suit. And I went, oh no, but I didn't know the mantra or whatever you did to not come back, so I came back. Well, it's one thing to have grown so used to a discomforting situation that you've sort of accepted it. But once you've tasted that there is another possibility, there's a whole different quality of discontent. And I was determined at that point to get out of suits, which is called getting high. And I made every effort to get high. I meditated, I traveled to India, I did all the things one did. And I found ways in India to stay so high. I could do it through fasting and chanting and breath control and being around holy people. And I could stay so high that I was just, energy was pouring out of my head, my pupils were large, I was feeling loving and present and clear, and boy, this is it. Then I'd come back to America, and I'd go to visit the family, and my father would say a simple thing like, got a job yet? Okay. And I'd crash, and I'd say, the family really brings me down. And I began to get a whole list of things that brought me down. Family brought me down, cities brought me down, economics brought me down, politics brought me down, the bomb brought me down. A lot of things. And I found that it was like I was wearing a new suit. Brings me down. I'm very high, brings me down. Stay away from me, I'm very high. And I suspected something was wrong. Everybody else was doing the same thing. I felt perhaps maybe if I renounced everything enough, it would click in. If I renounced my humanity enough, I would become divine. So I renounced as much as I could, but all I did was end up a horny celibate. And I was busy not doing this and that. It's like smokers. I haven't smoked in 3 years, 2 months, 22 hours, and 14 minutes. I'll probably die from not smoking. That didn't seem like the way. And I kept hearing messages in the spiritual literature that said, if you push away anything, you're not free.
Nice. What do you take from that?
What do I take from that? Okay. Okay, well, I was like trying to, I remember the last bit of it, like,
Were you listening?
yeah. Fuck, this is about like, ask me about where the scalenes insert, dude.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
No.
Yeah, what do you take from that?
I reckon, yeah, well, Michael Singer kind of came to my mind, and I was like, it's such a good way to practice mindfulness. Like, going and getting high in India for Ram Dass was like, he started with drugs. He was the Harvard professor. He got fired from there. He started doing LSD trips. He locked himself in a room for 2 weeks, did it for every 4 hours. Then he did mushrooms, and he left his body. He actually did mushrooms first. That was his first trip, and he left his body and watched it disintegrate. So he saw God that way. But basically with drugs, he always would go up and he would always come down. So then he's like, okay, well, I'm going to go to India. He felt like he needed to go to India, and he met the guru Maharaji. And then he started meditating and realizing that he was basically a form of God, this Maharaji guy, and could see everything. And he's like, okay, well, this is the way I'm going to get high and stay high. So stay on that, like he said, like he'd meditate for hours and hours and hours. But I think what he is saying in that is that when he came back to New York and stuff, he still had all the old triggers and all the stuff that was like bringing up for him. He's probably meditated his way into a lot of peace, but he's still, you know, you're in Earth, which is like school for a soul. So why not like take the curriculum, is what even those words actually come out of his mouth. And Michael A. Singer is really good at, I think, like a new age kind of like guy that's saying that exact thing. Like, use your triggers. Like, if something's triggering you, don't be a victim to it. Wonder why it's triggering you. Is that something from you picked up off your parents? Is that something that, you know, that's your karmic predicament. That's why you're here. You're in school. Why don't you try and take the curriculum and learn how to be less triggered? And you'll go through life feeling okay. Because that's what Michael A. Singer said again. He's just like, what we're really saying when we're triggered is, I'm not feeling okay inside. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to feel okay all the time?
Yeah. I think about, say, if someone has an argument, whoever, from the outside people viewing, whoever wins the argument is the one that's not triggered the most.
Yeah.
No matter what they're saying.
Yeah.
You know? They
Yeah.
could be saying the good shit, but the person that's sitting there with a smile on their face is like not taking it too serious. They always look like they're winning.
Yeah, it's so true, eh? Because it's an energy exchange, hey.
Yeah, and how you say, like, you can be sure that their faith is flickering when they're trying to overly convince you about whatever their thing is, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
And that's it. Like, it's like how, you know, I look forward to a debate one day because I feel like my approach will be, what do you mean? You're gonna tell me that foam rolling doesn't work? You're gonna bring up all these studies and shit that foam rolling doesn't work, and I'll get you laid down on the fucking ground and put a foam roller to your quad and measure the before and after range of motion and shit.
Yeah.
That works, you know?
Exactly.
It's yeah, I still don't know how to segue into that, but like,
yeah, it's undebatable, really.
yeah, and that it's never that thought, that instant thought of being triggered from your parents saying that will probably never go away because that's the human experience. But like you're saying, the work is just how quick can you get out of that and witness that. I'm like, oh, that's nothing, chill. And not let it segue into your reality.
That's cultivating the witness. Like, I know from personal experience, I used to be very reactive and like, and I still am to it, but I'm getting better and better and better. And the reason I'm getting better and better is because I'm doing the work of self-reflection. And I'm like, straight away when someone says something and I'm triggered by it, I'm like, hey, why am I triggered by that? Is it true? Is it absolutely true? There's plenty of things you can do to self-reflect. You can flip the coin, but that's the work. That's what Singer talks about, being the work. And I've found it really helpful because I'm not going to go to India and meditate in an ashram for 4 months straight like Ramdas did. I want to be in this world and learn how to be calm in this world in a world where you look at your phone in the morning, where you're fucking always busy. You've always got stuff going on. You're making money. You're doing this. You're doing that. You're helping people. It's like you need to figure out how to play in the garden but not get lost in it.
Well, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, send in writing questions if you're watching this on YouTube. Write in any questions or any cool guests that you want us to have on or questions that you want to ask us personally. And just all the things that you're meant to do and we're meant to ask you to do as a podcast. Just do all those things.
Shit, yeah. Like, subscribe. And today's episode is sponsored by the Himalayan salt by Corrective Culture.
Yeah, we're using that. Salt doesn't go off, so
enjoy.
Jump on the salt. Salt under your tongue every morning. Salt on all your food. Salt in your dog's water bowl too.
Yeah, that's a huge one.
Salt your dog's food. Your dog fucking needs river water just as we do, right?
100%.
So I salt Honey's food and she loves it.
Yep. Samesies.
Yeah. And we also give them King and they're obsessed with King.
Yeah.
Which is cool. She's picky and she loved that. Obviously. Yeah. All right. Thanks guys.
Bye. Bye.